Hey everybody, I'm back again, Chris, with another Audio Obsession update here. I'm hoping everybody's doing well out there. Finally today I got another full day of riding, putting some miles on my bike. So I got lots of sun today. I'm feeling whipped, but I'm in a mood for music, so I'm ready to giddy up and go here. I'm gonna turn this down just a tiny bit here. Anyways, I'm going to start off by letting you know what I'm listening to. And that would be Celestial Seasons' Solar Lovers album. And this came out on Transcending Records. You can see that down there. And this one was re-released in 2018, sorry. And this band is kind of like, oh man, I've been into these guys forever. They started off as like a melodic death doom band in the early 90s, and then kind of just like evolved all over the place, where they ended up, on this album in particular, I hear lots more groove stuff, kind of on the same lines as where Cathedral moved and started getting this kind of psychedelic groove to it. Heavy nods of Saint Vitus riffs on this album, and they ended up going like even like a stoner rock. They had all kinds of different genres that they were teetering in and out of. But last, I believe they were doing like tours with Fu Manchu and like the stoner rock category stuff. But fantastic band. They put out tons of great stuff. So if you have not heard of these guys, really, really cool. Worth checking out. Some melodic, groovy, stoner, death doom. They got it all on this particular album. Anyways, first off, so this is just going to be a vinyl update of stuff that I've got playing or that I just recently got in. Now this first one here that I'm going to show you guys, I am super excited. I finally got my hands on this. I've been wanting this album for the longest time now. When I came across this band, I believe somebody sent me a link on YouTube, and I was listening to this album, and honestly I had no idea. So this particular album came out originally in 1983. Now here, when I was listening to it like just a number of years ago, here I was thinking that it was like a throwback band to the sounds of, say, like early 80s and stuff. I had no idea that I was actually listening to a band from the 80s. So here I was thinking at the time this is like a new album coming out. But anyways, this would be Ashbury. Let's see if I can get it all in there, you dummy. Now, this album is absolutely incredible. The album title is Endless Skies, and this got repressed on High Roller Records in 2020. Yeah, 2020. So, oh man, this band has got, okay, so you picture you're having bands making babies with like Fleetwood Mac, some Allman Brothers, definitely Dire Straits, Mark Knopfler style guitaring, and a little bit of John Denver, a little bit of folkiness in there, with the early 80s hard rock type sound mixed all together. And some of the riffs even have like a nod to an early, say, 80s heavy metal. But now, maybe some of you metalhead guys that are following here are gonna say, well, with that kind of list of bands, it's like, I don't know. Trust me, absolutely fantastic. This album is killer. The riffs on it, the guitar work alone is just unbelievable. Like I said, the Dire Straits type sound almost sounds like it's all the finger picking melodies, and it's got that same type of it reminds me of that Dire Straits Knopfler type sound. Like, unfreaking believable. Absolutely unbelievable. I'll show you the back of this thing here. This whole album, start to finish, is just incredible. Absolutely incredible. So this one came with a nice full-size poster of the cover. And came out on this nice bright purple. You cannot miss this. Bold and beautiful. But yeah, the lead work on this album is just something else. Vocal hooks like you wouldn't believe. It definitely has a folky sound to it. But yeah, it's that early 80s type hard rock with some folk in it. Absolutely incredible. Really well worth checking out. So I'm sure there's plenty of you, if you don't know about this band, that would probably check it out and say, that's a really cool frickin' album. So, well worth it. The next album I got here, I got this for a steal at off of CDN Records. So they're based only a couple hours away from me, and closer Leamington area, if anybody's in the Ontario area. Anyways, so mainly what they seem to have on their site is they have an absolute ton of CDs. So a majority of what they're pushing is all CDs. But they do have some vinyl copies that I was sifting through on their webpage, and I came across this album at an absolute freaking steal. This thing came out in 2015, and they had this thing marked down to like $14. I couldn't pass it up because the artwork right away, as soon as I saw the artwork, I'm going, oh, I gotta check these guys out. Absolutely incredible. Rotten Repugnancy. Check out that art. So this band is a UK-based band. And their sound, to me, is like old school 90s UK death metal. That's what this band is. And right away, though, there's a picture of the guys there, trio. But right away, when I saw this cover, instantly, I was thinking Dan Seagrave. And of course, it's not. It would be Marco Hasman did the artwork for this. Now, but definitely the same type of style as Seagrave, who has literally been on like every death metal band under the sun through in the 90s all the way up. Absolute incredible artist, but this Marco Hasman is another absolute incredible artist. The band, heavy as hell. Absolutely riffy. Every one of you death metal guys, if you don't know about this band, you're gonna love this. It's fantastic. There was something with the vocals. They've got fantastic vocals on here, with some like kind of a little bit higher death growls, and then the really deep voice. Now, there was always something while I'm listening to it that the deep voice was just triggering a memory going, I've heard this voice somewhere before. I've heard this voice. And literally up until a few moments ago when I was going to do this video, I'm sitting here about ready to hit record, and then it all of a sudden hit me. And I had to then just quickly go back and double check, and sure enough, I was right. So I don't know if any of you guys remember in the 90s the cartoon Inspector Gadget. Well, the evil villain, which was Dr. Claw, if you remember Dr. Claw's deep voice, that was the first thing that it was reminding me of on this album. Now, having said that, that's not me making fun of it. I actually really enjoyed the voice. It's this really kind of deep, I wouldn't even say guttural. I would say it's really deep in the back of your throat type vocals. But anyways, not making fun of it whatsoever. It sounded really, really cool, but that was the first thing it reminded me of. But anyways, it came on this, your typical black vinyl. Nothing too fancy. But for 14 bucks, I could not freaking believe it. It was like a steal getting that. So definitely well worth. I believe this album, I said it was 2015 that it came out. So they were obviously just pushing it out the door, trying to get rid of it, and I just happened to show up at the right time, that's for sure. So yeah, fantastic band if you're into like that nice, fast, riffy, old school death metal, especially with that the UK 90s flair to it. You're definitely gonna like this. This next one, I was actually at a local distillery, actually. A local distillery that in the same shop also sells records. I went with my brother, actually, my girlfriend, and we were there for drinks, and I decided, well, we're waiting for drinks, so I'm gonna go look at the records. I'd already been to the place plenty of times before, and you know, they've got some things that I find are just a little overpriced. But then they had in the clearance section. So I go searching, and here I find Forged in Fury by Christian. And that right there also is some killer artwork. Now this album came out in 2015 on Century Media. This one just happens to be a double vinyl gatefold. So let's see if we can get that art in there too. So it's basically just an expanded version of the cover, which is killer. A double orange vinyl for $15. Another absolute steal. I couldn't pass it up. And to be fair, this is actually my very first Christian album. I'd heard of them. These guys are a Brazilian death metal band, technical, but definitely when you say Brazilian death metal band or Brazilian metal, it always has this sound that just, I don't know if it's just me, but it's got this sound where I go, yeah, they're a Brazilian band. There's just something in the way they produce it, in the way just their sound in general is. This album in particular was produced by the infamous Eric Rutan, who's produced all kinds of stuff and who's currently in Cannibal Corpse. And yeah, like fantastic technical death metal album, like really freaking good album. And for 15 bucks, I wasn't gonna just leave it there. A double vinyl for 15 bucks, like give me a break. And of course it came on this nice orange vinyl. Now on the D side, I'm not certain you're gonna see this. Oh, kind of see that a little bit. But on the D side it's an etched, and it's kind of like a blood dripping, oozing type pentagram. It's really kind of hard to see, but I'll catch it with all my lights there. But yeah, absolutely fantastic. For the price, you can't go wrong. And for being my first album, it's like, I know I had heard of them, I knew about them, I just, for whatever reason, I've never picked up an album. And this is their 9th studio album. And after this, I'm definitely going to be searching for some more. Hopefully another $15 deal, but we'll see. But yeah, Forged in Fury. Can't go wrong with this. Great album. Now this next one here, I can thank my oldest son Keeland for. He got this for my birthday. I had this album way back when it came out in the 90s, and I put it to tape like I did plenty other albums, and then traded it on to get something new. And it was Incantations, Onward to Golgotha. That's some more fantastic artwork. But yeah, anybody who's into death metal would have to know this album when you see it. Like, it kind of speaks for itself. Everybody who kind of grew up, especially through the 90s, like I did. This one came out in 92 originally. This was repressed in 2015 on Relapse. But yeah, absolute fantastic death metal album. And this particular album, I recall the band was mentioning how much everybody was going to the Morrisound Studios. All the death metal bands were just headed down there to get that Florida sound. And these guys were like, no, we want something different. We want something super heavy, and this is what they ended up producing. And it definitely does not sound like the Morrisound Studios death metal albums that have been put out. Very much stands out on its own. And I recall the first time I heard for the life of me, I can't even remember what song it was. Oh man, of course my memory is slipping, fading. But they came out on the Death Is Just the Beginning series, and the first one that I had heard, I thought, holy crap, that is like the deepest set of vocals I had ever heard up until that point. They were just to the point where it was almost whispered. They were so deep and low but fast and riffy, and this was a pummeling death metal album. And of course we got, your lyrics, typical stuff, picture of the band. Of course, I'm sure a bunch of you that do know Incantation have checked out their latest album, which is a fantastic album. Absolutely incredible album. And of course, I still have yet to get my hands on that. But eventually, I got too many wants and needs and not enough money. And of course, this is just your typical black vinyl, nothing fancy. But yeah, this is like, for somebody who went through the 90s death metal, this is an absolute staple and a must-have in a collection. And this next one is another absolute must-have in a collection. So this band does have a new album out right now, which I have yet to even hear a track off of. Usually when bands like have an album come out, I try not to, especially bands that I already know, I try not to listen to anything, and then I'll just go out and buy it, because I want my listening experience when I either, put it on the platter or put it in the CD player or whatever. That's when I want my listening experience, not online. I'm just kind of weird that way. I kind of like my, tangible, old school. That's just the way I am. Whatever. But anyways. At the Gates, Terminal Spirit Disease. Now, I remember, so this came out originally in 94, when a good buddy of mine got this album. He got it on CD, and we listened to it, and I was absolutely, completely blown away. The Gothenburg, Sweden sound was full force on this album. It was really refined, though. They didn't have the nasty ripping HM2 type buzzsaw sound, but it was really very fluid and super melodic riffs. They took fast death metal ish type riffs, but just gave it this melody to it, so it had it, I don't know, it's an At the Gates sound. And for me, like, I know Slaughter of the Soul was basically considered, that was their penultimate album when that came out, and granted, it's a fantastic album. I do love that album. But when I were to pick an At the Gates album as my favorite, this is gonna be it. There's just something about the songs, like even the song Terminal Spirit Disease, like the vocals on it have such it's, oh my god, it's so, I don't even know how to, there's so much angst and anger in the vocals, and they've just got this raspiness, like you're digging somebody out with a spoon in a horror movie and they're just kind of gurgling with blood. I know that's like an awful kind of explanation, but there was just something with the vocals and the melodic music in behind it and the fast riffing. It checked every single box for me. And this was an absolute favorite and a must-have. And I'm glad that I've got it now back in my collection. This one is 180 gram vinyl black. And yeah, so we got a little bit of artwork, the band stuff, whatever, we got lyrics. But yeah, this, I'm gonna have to check out the new album. I know it's getting huge rave reviews. And yeah, but Terminal Spirit Disease, so far, still to this date, this is my favorite, the At the Gates record. And once again, at that local distillery, I found another must-have. So this album I got when it came out, and that was back in '91. And I had it on CD, put it to cassette tape, and then off it went. All the way up until now, I finally, only a few weeks ago, just got it back into my collection again. Every time I thought about it, it's like, yes, I gotta find one, and then, you know, ooh, squirrel, I get caught up by a flashing light or something like that, and now I forget about it. But I have been after this album for forever, and finally, I got it back. And of course, this one is an Earache repress, which was done, I believe, 2014-ish, I think. Let me read here. Well, it says 2014 on the back. Okay, so I am right. Well, maybe I'm right, I don't know, whatever. But anyways, this freaking album right here, I recall when I first seen it and I bought it, I wasn't sure. I knew looking at the logo. Now, keep in mind, this is like 91, 92 when I'm looking at this. But I knew by the logo, yeah, they gotta be a death metal band, and it was in a metal section, so all I did was I just picked it up blindly, and I was absolutely in love with it. I was a little weirded out because, you know, I was into like your Deicide, your Cannibal Corpse, and stuff like that, so they had your, you know, either satanic or gory type covers. And this kind of like aliens getting sucked into a black hole kind of wasn't your typical death metal cover, and I actually almost passed it up way back when because I just wasn't too sure. I thought it was kind of corny looking. But of course now, you talk to anybody who's into this style of music and you just quickly flash that, and right away they know exactly what it is. So this whole album is pretty well the lineup of Death's Leprosy album. This is Death Leprosy, except for they got Cam Lee down here on vocals and not Chuck Schuldiner. Musically, I wouldn't say death, but it's very, very Rick Ross, like huge Rick Ross. So when you're listening to the whammy bar freaking going nuts leads, that's what we were hearing in Leprosy, and of course in this album he just kind of carried over his sound. And with Cam Lee's vocals, this is just an absolute incredible album. But yeah, this was pretty much Death Leprosy with a new vocalist, and kind of a more sticking with, you know, the heavier death metal, where Death and Chuck Schuldiner, they kind of had, you know, turmoil within the band. There'd be some lineup changes and all kinds of issues going on, and where these guys wanted to continue with this sound instead of go off to where Death was headed towards, and that's where this was born. an absolute must-have, and thankfully I've got it back in. Now when I see this cover, I absolutely love it. Can't get enough of it now. And last but not least, I was not going to pass this up. This was once again at this local distillery in the clearance section. If you can see that, $10 freaking dollars. 6 Feet Under, Warpath. I was not gonna walk away from this record for $10. No freaking way. Of course, everybody knows 6 Feet Under, basically the grooviest death metal band that could have come out of Cannibal Corpse, giving Chris Barnes the boot. And yeah, another fantastic record, and for $10, I mean, I'm not gonna pass that up, no freaking way. And of course it comes with, you know, you got your lyric sheets and all that. Also had a poster in here of the front cover, so all that for $10? Yes, please. But yeah, fantastic. So this one is just your, once again, typical, you know, black vinyl, but still a deal that I was not going to pass up. And a really, really good album. Fantastic album. So that is going to be my update for today. What I was planning on doing was going through my collection and picking out a stack of either CDs or records, whatever I decided to pick out, but I was planning on doing my favorite album covers out of the stuff that I own here. So there's plenty of album covers that I want to have that would definitely be in my list, but I'm only gonna grab what I got here and just go for a number, I don't know, however many of my personal favorites. So that was my plan, and then I had this stuff and I go, I don't know, I gotta mention some of these things. And yeah, so hoping maybe the next time I'll do that, unless I know I did just get a handful of CDs in from CDN Records. Oh man, I know I'm probably gonna get Mark G in trouble here with buying some CDs. I know he, right at the moment, is huge, diving headfirst into like the filthiest, nastiest death metal albums. And man, I found a good handful that I got at a freaking steal too. So I'll try not to get you in trouble, but I know I've got a few that are geared towards you, and I'll almost guarantee you either got them or you're gonna want to get them, because they are right up your freaking alley, man. Anyways, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully, we're almost 30 minutes. I'm trying to cut them down, but I freaking talk too much. Anyways, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. I got a couple new subscribers, so really happy about that. So if everybody can help out, hit the like button. And yeah, I'm enjoying watching everybody else's videos. I'm definitely making a lot of friends doing this, so absolutely fantastic. I can't ask for anything more. Talking about music, something I love, and then talking with other people who also love the same thing. So this is becoming a fantastic community, and I'm glad to be a part of it. So thank you very much, and I'll see you guys next time.